You tired of lies and leftovers? The Real Black Agenda is crushing 3 bestsellers list. Grab it on Amazon or hit the link in my Instagram bio at @TheBusinessBully before they try and silence it. A good friend of mine, the late Dr. Julia Hare, said very famously at a Tavis Smiley convention, the problem with Black America isn't black leaders, is that we've got too many leading blacks. Today, I want to talk about one particular leading black who cares more about PR and pretty legs than he does actual progress. So this is my assessment of one Jamal Harrison Bryant. What we've seen time and again from leading blacks like Jamal Bryant is running from substantive conversations, running from responsibility, but showing up when it's time for a soundbite or a photo op. We don't need any more ambulance chasing preachers out here. But let's keep the party going, shall we? Cut to December of 2018 when Jamal Bryant was appointed the new leader of the embattled New Birth Missionary Baptist Church, formerly held by the late, great Eddie Long. And if you don't know what Eddie Long was up to, I mean, ugh. So we go from one problematic pastor to another problematic pastor. And it wasn't like he was coming in to make substantive change. He came in basically a rebrand, like just a new letter, but the same font. And so what winds up happening is you go from one problematic preacher that's got a whole lot of questionable things going on in his life. You look at what's happening in New Birth and you say to yourself, why are we talking about things that don't matter? One of the things that we have to talk about in the black church is the fact that on average, the black church in America generates between $33 and $38 million in tithes and offerings every single Sunday. And aside from the liquor stores, the fast food joints, and the dispensaries, the church is pristine. And Jamal Bryant has bragged on several podcasts that we have one of the largest land mass owning black churches in America. So we should go ahead and we should start selling weed because I want the brothers who smell like weed. And I am kind of trying to figure out exactly how that works. Is it that you want the brothers who smell like weed because you're trying to create a sanctuary for those brothers to have a safe space to come to Jesus? Or could it be that you want brothers who are just inebriated and caught up and spellbound by the rap you give black women about being empowered and being great and this, that, and the third, because you'll automatically hopefully double the amount of tithes and offerings you collect on a Sunday. And to be fair, I know you're doing some good things, like you have a directory of black-owned businesses that you rarely promote, but it's on your website and it's as disjointed as a contortionist with an arthritis flare-up. It does not work very well. It's not really mobile friendly, and 88% of all users on the internet are using one of these, bruh. But that aside, you have yet to put yourself in a position to really step up and lead. Oh, wait, let me take that back. Because when somebody else created the Target fast, you jumped on that like white on rice, like steak on crap. You jumped on that like a neck bone to a hungry man, as quick as you possibly could. We're going to fast from Target because of DEI. And I've said this on this channel many a day, that DEI jobs have only benefited less than 4% of all black Americans. That's not my stats. You can look at Black Enterprise or just run the numbers yourself. So again, you're out here performing so that you can get on CNN, because the last thing you really want to talk about is a real black agenda. And this isn't about a plug for my book. I want to be clear. This isn't about a plug for my book. But what it is about is that you'd rather do something performative that's going to create headlines than to do something transformative that is going to create growth in the black community. Let's call it what it is. There's a bunch of people in your congregation who are still poor. There are a bunch of people in your congregation who don't have what you have. There's a bunch of people in your congregation who are still lost. There's a bunch of people in your congregation who think that by boycotting Target, black people are going to be repaired. You won't have a call for reparations because that won't get you on CNN. You won't have a call for addressing food deserts outside of giving bags of groceries like a food pantry. But what you will do is say, well, now that we've got the target fast and they've lost $640 million from us telling black people that this is affecting them, when you don't even realize that there are black people on Target's board, and you're not saying, while we're fasting from Target, here are the top 15 businesses in any particular state that are black owned, black operated, that you should be funneling your dollars to. That's not the conversation you're having. It's, we're going to make them change their mind about DEI. And then you recognize that there are food deserts, fair enough, because now you're telling people to do a, wait for it, digital fast of Dollar General, because we know that Dollar General is in the hood, and that may be the only access to food that most black people will get in a lot of those neighborhoods. Everything you do is very, very calculated. Now, full disclosure, back in October, I was asked by Master P and his team to come and speak at New Birth, and I got no problem showing you the footage. I did very, very well. It was a good conversation. So much so that when I left the sanctuary, it took me and my driver an hour to get from the sanctuary to the parking lot because I kept getting stopped. And everybody from the tech team to the DJ, everybody, including Jamal Bryant himself, gave me props. And so we reached out to him because we wanted to bring him on I Never Knew TV to talk about the boycott. And I also wanted to come and sit down with him on his show so we could have a conversation about what he's doing, because I'm of the belief that not one person has all of the answers. I think we all throughout the diaspora have the answers collectively if we can bury our egos and sit down and have conversations. If we can disagree without being disrespectful or disagreeable, then we can move collectively and powerfully. But I was instructed by someone at New Birth to fire off an email, and so my team did. Then we fired off another one. Then we fired off another one. And I called a buddy of mine who said, listen, let me find out what's going on, because they told us that they were going to look out for the email, and this is pretty much a done deal. So I'm excited to have a conversation, because I don't run from debate, aka, as we say in the hood, I ain't ducking no smoke. And sure enough, I got a text from that person who shall remain nameless, but this person is relatively famous in Black Hollywood. And this person says to me, yeah, they passed. And I said, I wonder why. Then I turn on YouTube, just minding my business, having a conversation with the wife. And then I look and I see this clip of one of my favorite quarterbacks sitting down with Jamal Bryant, and Jamal Bryant complimenting his, and I quote, pretty legs. Then he goes on to double down. They must glow in the dark. Those legs must be lanolated. Now, as a person with a men's opinion, I had to look up lanolated, because I was like, there's no way that lanolated means what I think it means, that you have covered something in lanolin in order to moisturize it effectively. Then he doubles down with shea butter and all types of lotions. I mean, your legs are oiled up. I can see you don't skip leg day. So we got time to talk about Cam Newton's athletic prowess when it comes to his lower extremities, but we don't have time to talk about the lower amount of attention you're giving to what black people really need, which is an agenda for black people, because you can't say black and get on CNN. You can't say black and ambulance chase here, there, hither, and yon. You can't uplift the people by having substantive conversations where you hold all black people accountable, including you, Jamal. And I find it telling that you're working so hard to be the heir apparent of Al Sharpton, aka Martin Luther King, with a brooch on your chest, that you don't have time to really do the work that it would take to make things happen. I think that you could be a change for good. I remember you gave a speech at the Empowerment Temple, or you want to call it a sermon, you certainly can, where you said, I won't drink to that. And you talked about all the bad stuff that was in Mountain Dew and all the bad stuff that was in McRibs and things that they put in floor mats. And I was like, yo, this brother's on to something. And then I did a little digging and I found out that the only thing you're on is a path to being the next leading black. But I will tell you, whether you choose to acknowledge it or ignore it, empty boycotts, talking about crippling a company without giving real alternatives on those international broadcasts that you're doing on CNN and other places that give you a platform because you're the safe, rabble-rousing Negro that has not accomplished anything outside of talking about weed, Target, Dollar General. Oh, wait! You almost got away with this one, but it just clicked for me. You then came after black folks and said that if they are going to the White House to celebrate Black History Month, that they are somehow house Negroes. And granted, some of them might be. I'll spot you that. However, if you're referring to other black people in 2025 as house Negroes, then that means in your mind that all black people are slaves. So my question to you, if we're all slaves, then who is your master? Because you sure enough got in Kamala's back pocket real quick, didn't you? That's how it's got to be. So if anybody doesn't think the way that you thinks and is challenging you in any way, shape, form, or fashion, they have to be a house Negro. But the only person I see skinning and grinning for white folks around here is you. Oh, but wait, you're doing that to further the work in the kingdom of God. Yeah, something about planks in your eyes before removing the specks in others. But I digress. If you've got a topic for Ask Dave Anderson, you can always hit me up, dave@businessbullyshow.com. Pick up The Real Black Agenda, exposing the myths, igniting the revolution, and make sure you comment, rate, and subscribe right here on I Never Knew TV.